Ich bin vor 2 Jahren in die Ukraine gekommen. Das war schon.
I arrived to Ukraine 2 years ago. It was very soon after the events on the Maidan, the illegal annexation of Crimea by Russia, and the outbreak of war in the east of Ukraine. I was perfectly aware that I was heading to a country that was going through a very difficult period. But apart from that, I also knew that Euromaidan gave impetus to the start of reforms in the country in many sectors. The objective of people behind Maidan itself was to ensure their lives in a democratic, independent and free country, where business is transparent and reforms are being carried out.
Ich habe mich schon sehr darauf gefreut.
And I was happy about the opportunity to work in such a country. This is a wonderful experience in a situation when people are striving for reforms and the transformation of society in their homeland.
Wie Menschen für Reformen sich einsetzen, wie sich auch die Gesellschaft umgestaltet. Also das Bild eines Landes wird natürlich.
Austrian media are actively covering the situation in Ukraine.
Über andere Länder und wie wir wissen.
And of course, they concentrate on the most sensational materials such as aggression in the east of the country. However, in other spheres, for example, culture and sport, there are a lot of good things are happening as well.
Sehr viele positive Ansätze gibt es gerade im Bereich Kultur und Sport. Also zum Beispiel wissen
Austrian football fans remember how Ukraine, together with Poland, hosted the Euro 2012 Football Championship.
2012 hier stattgefunden hat, auch gemeinsam mit Polen. Oder die Fans, das sind hauptsächlich Männer, kennen natürlich.
They know the teams Shakhtar Donetsk and Dynamo Kiev, which play football at a high European level.
Vereine hier, die wirklich auf europäischem Niveau spielen. Die Österreicher wissen auch, dass die Ukraine bereits zum
In
zweiten
addition, the Eurovision 2017 Song Contest will be held in Ukraine for the second time, because first Ukrainian singer Ruslana won this contest, and last year Jumala, also representing Ukraine, won it.
Eurovision Song Contest gewonnen haben. Österreicher wissen auch über die ukrainische
In Austria, we are familiar with Ukrainian folk culture, as Ukrainian folk concerts are held in our country. Folk culture is a distinctive element that can create a positive image of the country.
Das Element ist, dass eine positive Stimmung erzeugen kann und ein positives Image geben kann. Nach 2 Jahren ist mein Eindruck.
After 2 years, I think Ukraine is capable of introducing the necessary reforms. Though it is not the matter of a day, this is a task that requires major efforts and has its victims.
Dass aber nach wie vor eine sehr starke Bewegung da ist, die sich eben.
But thanks to a strong national movement, one can already see certain positive changes in the society.
Schon Veränderungen in der Gesellschaft. Also die 25 Jahre, die wir heuer feiern.
This year marks the 25th anniversary of the diplomatic relationship between our countries. In 1991, Austria signed a protocol of consular relationships.
An dem Tag, an dem das Referendum hier in der Ukraine zur Unabhängigkeit stattgefunden hat, am 1. Dezember 1991.
The document was signed in New York during the United Nations General Assembly.
Generalversammlung. Daraus ist dann das erste Generalkonsulat
This is how the first honorary consulate appeared in Ukraine.
Der unabhängigen Ukraine erhalten.
And on January 24th, 1992, our countries officially established diplomatic relations. Due to this, the General Consulate of Austria transformed into the Embassy of Austria.
Einer der ersten Staaten hier,
In this way, we became one of the first foreign embassies in Ukraine, but our representation was not limited to Kiev.
Wir haben sehr bald dann auch in Lemberg ein Kooperation.
Soon after the first embassy was officially opened, the Ukrainian capital, a new representative office was opened in Lviv. To this day, we work very productively in this region, particularly in the cultural and scientific spheres.
Honorarkonsulate errichtet.
We also have honorary consulates in Odessa, Kharkiv, Chernivtsi and Dnipro. We will soon open our consulate in Zaporizhia. Unfortunately, we have not opened an official representative office in Donetsk due to the situation with the war in the east of Ukraine.
Für uns ist es sehr wichtig, eben auch, sie sind wichtig bei der Herstellung von.
It is very important for us to work in the regions, and our consulates very much encourage cultural exchange as well. Establishing contacts with local authorities and business people is also at the top of our agenda as a diplomatic representative of Austria in Ukraine.
Am 1. Dezember einen Empfang gemacht, wo wir mit Vertretern der Wirtschaft.
With the aim of celebrating our anniversary on December the 1st, 2016, the Austrian embassy organized a reception which gathered politicians and businessmen from Austria and Ukraine. And on February the 10th, the ceremony of resuming the work of the honorary consulate in Lviv was held. On this occasion, a conference was held at Ivan Franko University in Lviv that highlighted many of the historical, cultural, political and economic aspects of cooperation between Austria and Ukraine.
Beleuchtet wurden. Das war eine sehr interessante Diskussion. Die Wirtschaftsbeziehungen spielen eine sehr, sehr große Rolle. Österreich.
Relations in the economic sphere play a very important role. Austria has proved to be an inactive investor in Ukraine. We're in the 5th place of the list of foreign countries in terms of the level of capital investments made in Ukraine. This was facilitated by our investments in the Ukrainian financial and banking sectors. In addition, a number of enterprises were founded in Ukraine.
Wie zum Beispiel Fischerski ist eine Erfolgsgeschichte.
For example, one ski production company became a true success story. Their product is sold all over the world. Other entrepreneurs successfully cooperate with Ukraine in the production of vegetable concentrates.
Hauptsächlich mit Obst arbeiten und Obstkonzentrate machen. Einige Landwirtschaftsbetriebe hier.
The sector of agriculture, wood processing, services and real estate are of a special interest to us.
Real estate auch. Es wachsen die
Our trade with Ukraine began to grow again in 2016, and this positive trend continues this year.
Seit letzten Jahr wieder. Und wir sehen einen positiven Trend auch schon in diesem Jahr. Die Kultur in unseren Außenbeziehungen.
An extremely important component of Austrian-Ukrainian relations is cultural cooperation. Recently in Austria, there were readings of literary works of writer Serhii Zhadan.
Ukrainische Künstler, Schriftsteller.
Many other young Ukrainian artists, writers, directors and musicians visit Austria. For example, Andrei Kurkov is now in Austria and he will tour the country to present his works.
Auf eine Einladung und verbringt dort einige Zeit und arbeitet an einem Werk jungen ukrainischen Kultur.
I think it is important to get new knowledge about contemporary Ukrainian culture. This is promoted by such cultural initiatives as the Day of Ukrainian Culture. After all, cultural exchange is a kind of a soft power which is important to work on these days. Therefore, we welcome such initiatives.
Wir brauchen viele ukrainische Künstler in Österreich, nicht nur in Wien, sondern auch in anderen Städten, sie dort bekannt zu machen.
I would like to see Ukrainian cultural figures known not only in Vienna, but also in other regions of the country. This opportunity is created by translating Ukrainian works into German. There are many interesting Ukrainian works that are already known in the literary circle of Austria.
Sehr interessante Literatur und in Literaturkreisen wirklich bekannt sind. Wir unterstützen diesen Kulturaustausch wirklich aktiv.
We actively support cultural exchange on our part. Recently, the embassy organized a cultural forum that covered not only the nation's capital, but also other regions of Ukraine. As a reminder, the Week of Austrian Film is right around the corner. We have been conducting this event for many years now.
Wir bringen immer wieder Musiker, Schriftsteller hierher. Wie gesagt, unsere Honorarkonsuln unterstützen uns hier sehr, dass wir auch außerhalb von Kiew Veranstaltungen durchführen können.
In addition, the embassy often invites musicians and writers to introduce Ukrainians to Austrian cultural achievements. And of course, as I said, our honorary consulates help us very much. For example, recently we opened libraries with Austrian literature in the cities of Drohobych and Kropyvnytsky.
Die Geschichte unserer diplomatischen Beziehungen ist nicht eine Geschichte von 25 Jahren, sondern geht Jahrhunderte zurück.
The history of our diplomatic relations is not limited to the last 25 years. In fact, it goes back centuries. Even in the times of Kaiser, Austria opened its consulate in Ukraine.
Honorarkonsule, also örtliche Kaufleute, die Interessen.
We had representative offices in Odessa and Kherson. In this region, there was a strong economic interest of Austrian entrepreneurs. In our time, many Austrians are happy to visit Lviv, Chernivtsi, and small towns as well. After all, they do not seem to differ from other European cities. This manifests itself not only in the architecture of the buildings, but also in the impressions that local residents make on foreign visitors. We have here a thick layer of common cultural traditions.
Wiedergeben. Wir hier einen großen gemeinsamen Kulturraum haben. Odessa ist wiederum eine Stadt, die sehr anders geprägt ist, also sehr vielfältig ist und man den Einfluss merkt und die
Odessa creates a different impression, as its local residents are very independent people. Kyiv is beautiful as well. Kharkiv is interesting as an example of a large city with wide streets. It is very different from Austrian towns with narrow streets of the Middle Ages.
Also ganz anders angelegt als zum Beispiel Städte in Österreich, die meistens aus mittelalterlichen Städten entstanden sind und im Kern eine sehr enge Struktur haben. Dnipro und
Dnipro and Zaporizhia are industrial cities. Mariupol is famous for its port as well as for its extensive Greek community. The diversity of Ukrainian cities is amazing.
Als Stadt mit einer griechischen Bevölkerung auch wieder eine andere Prägung hat. Also diese Unterschiedlichkeiten der Städte sind schon sehr faszinierend. Also Ostern ist natürlich hier in der Ukraine, glaube ich.
Easter in Ukraine is the most important religious event. This holiday is also associated with a lot of traditions. This is certainly the Great Land, and in some regions of Austria on Palm Sunday, there is a tradition to ride a donkey through the streets, remembering the biblical chronicles of historical events.
Sonntag vor Ostern mit einem Esel durch die Ortschaft reitet und Palmenpesen verteilt.
Palm branches are kept in homes, as it is believed they bring grace to the home and the family living in it.
Es gibt viele solche Traditionen.
We also make pisankas in Austria, and on Saturday before Easter we carry eggs and other products to church in woven baskets for blessing from God.
Damit sie dort gesegnet
So the traditions of celebrating Easter in Ukraine and Austria are very similar.
Und es ist wirklich ein schönes und wichtiges Fest. Und ich möchte allen Ukrainerinnen und Ukrainern wirklich ein schönes, frohes und gesegnetes Ostern wünschen, das sie hoffentlich alle im Kreise der Familie verbringen können.